Hi there. I wanted to say thank you so much for coming. It is just now 5:30. I'm going to give it just a couple more minutes for anybody who might be a little late joining before I start the official presentation. I'll repeat a few times that we do have the question and answer portion open on this session. So you can go ahead and submit questions officially in the portal, and you can also upvote them if it's a popular topic. I will attempt to answer all questions at the end of the presentation, and then we will have public comments available for about 7 days. So officially 1 week from now, the 22nd, you can submit through midnight, and then we'll be shutting those off to then go ahead and order the final playground after any last minute adjustments. So I'll give it just another couple minutes and then I'll be back with you. All right, awesome. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for your interest in the Tom Pearce Playground. I know it has been a strongly anticipated project here with Josephine County Parks. And for today's meeting, I'm going to take you through a presentation so that everybody understands what happened to the last Tom Pearce Playground, how we have been tackling this project over the past couple years, since 2019, how we ended up with the current design. I'll go through the current design. And then, of course, we will have 7 days worth of public comments. So anybody that's not able to attend live, this video will be posted on YouTube and linked right to our JosephineCountyParks.com website. You're able to submit public comments after this meeting for 7 days by either going to JosephineCountyParks.com or emailing us at parks@josephinecounty.gov. You can also submit comments directly here to the main office with Josephine County Parks, which is 125 Ringette Street, here in Grants Pass, Oregon, zip code 97527. So thank you once again. Playgrounds are important to our communities and our children. It's always sad when we have to remove playgrounds, but we do have to ensure the safety for everybody who uses them. So what happened to the last Tom Pearce Playground? Well, it was made of wood. It was a fabulous playground. It was built in 1990. And it lasted until July of 2019 when we did have to close it after we had a playground inspection. Wood deteriorates, and it was just determined not to be safe anymore. This is the original build, which the Kiwanis helped with. And this is when we took it out, July 2019. And here is what remains for anybody who has visited Tom Pearce Park over the past 2 years. So we jumped straight into designing a new playground and getting the public involved. With our public involvement, we had a public meeting where we had Playcraft design us 4 different designs, one from each designer who all live right here in the Grants Pass area. With these designs, we put it out to a public vote, and you can see the percentages on the screen. These were voted both in person for those that attended the meeting, as well as online voting was available afterwards. We also had public input cards. I'll go over the survey results in just a couple of slides, where we asked people, what's important to you about a playground? Once we had all that feedback, we narrowed it down to 2 additional designs. These were modified from the prior ones. Essentially, we had a split from the original votes where the all-inclusive design was preferred by the public, but expenses were also very important. People were very budget conscious when looking at the different designs. Those results really carried over into our second one. It was interesting to us that with all of the comments and survey results, the design here was 60% actually was not the all-inclusive design, but the comments that we were seeing were that it was cheaper and it was easier to see the kids. And specifically, the comments on the other one was it was too expensive, but rubber tiles were extremely necessary for accessibility, and that was a reoccurring topic. As we sat with the Josephine County Parks staff, well, we decided that this is the only location where Josephine County Parks will be able to do an all-inclusive playground in the near future. And so for us, it was important to go ahead and give that to the public. Expenses in mind, it has now taken us 2 years of fundraising to get to where we're at. So we got busy writing grants and fundraising after that. And these were the results from the 2 surveys from the 2 rounds of public feedback that we got. You can see the different elements that people had prioritized in both surveys. Slides and swings were the most important. Fully inclusive was over 50% in the first one and just 47% in the second one, but still a good majority of the public had specifically said that was important. And then from there, various elements had different ratings. So we took all of this into consideration while looking at the design options when people said option 1 or option 2. So with that, we chose the all-inclusive design and started fundraising. We partnered with the Grants Pass Kiwanis and the Josephine Parks and Recreation Foundation to start writing grants, spreading the word about sponsorships, and start drumming up support. Our goal was a $410,000 project. We've now reached that goal. The majority of the funds did come from ARPA funds, which was from the America Rescue Plan Act of $319,000. But we had just about $100,000 raised through the various grants and the foundations which we requested them from, through local clubs right here in our community, Siskiyou Community Health and all. Care Health came in as well. Kids Zone Community Foundation was the very first donor. Grants Pass Rotary, Grants Pass Toyota, and Grants Pass Active Club all gave, as well as the Carpenter Foundation for $10,000, Grants Pass Kiwanis for $15,000, Ford Family Foundation for $25,000, and the Christopher and Dana Reeves Foundation for $25,000. We have miscellaneous donations as well. Any additional funds coming in at this time will go towards additional park benches and amenities around the playground. I have a slide here showing the location of the old playground versus the new playground location. Essentially, when we look at the old playground location, it was very close to the shelter at Tom Pearce Park in the west side of the park. It really wasn't interference when we were seeing different private events renting that shelter and not a lot of privacy involved. We knew with building this big of a playground that we were going to need a lot more space, not only for the playground itself, but for the area around it as the families gathered and kids were running and having a good time. So the new location is moving just slightly to the west. We have a really good area that's already clear of trees. It's nice and open. We also discovered the old location is on top of the leach field for our sewer system. It's not something that we can pour concrete over or that we should be digging on the ground for. So that also paired with our decision to move it over. We did at this point remove 1 tree already, and there are 2 additional trees identified that'll need to be removed for the boundary of the playground. Mainly we want to protect it from the future, but also make sure that we're not inundating the roots under the ground as well. So let's look at the design. Anyone on the phone, you can see these. When you go to josephinecountyparks.com, we have all of the playground design photos there. We have several different views. This one is a top-down angle to show the overall playground. It is designed with full rubber matting. In this photo, you can see the proposed barrier around the entire playground was actually plastic. We have decided to remove that. We're doing concrete sidewalks all the way around so that your entry to the playground is flush and all of the sides can be accessed from anybody with mobility devices. It'll help prevent trip hazards as well for children as they're running around. The entire playground can be accessed at the base of the surface by any mobility device. That includes mom and strollers, wheelchairs, walkers, canes, all of the above. You'll be able to go up on the playground and access the majority of it in a mobility device. The only place that would require a transfer would be to go into the 3rd story tier where the highest slides are in order to have that experience. We do have a swing bay proposed with 6 different swings. 2 of them are your normal adult or older children swings. There are 2 toddler swings. There is a swing called a play share swing. That is where a toddler can sit facing an adult or another person and they can swing together. And then we have another swing swing that is specifically designed for spinal support for any children or young adults who need to have a harness and have that back support while they swing. Another element is a transglider. It's where mobility devices can roll up in it as well, but there's benches for other children who have walked in, and the whole thing kind of shifts and rocks. I have a video here that I'm going to play. It is also available on YouTube as an independent video, but it does give you a full fly through of the playground as it's proposed so that you can get a better idea of what it's going to look like once it's built. All right, awesome. I hope that gave you a better idea of what it might look like once you are actually on site and it is built. So other site amenities that were mentioned, we'll do concrete sidewalks around the entire perimeter of the playground. We'll add additional benches and tables, as well as ADA picnic areas so that people can enjoy their day at the playground. We are separately doing a restroom remodel. We have a 50% grant for both the restrooms at Tom Pearce. Those will be gutted from the interior and completely redone for ADA compliance. And that way everybody can use those and they'll be brought up to today's standards for ADA. Additionally, we'll be looking at smoother transitions and repairing some of the sidewalk slopes as you approach the playground from the parking lot itself. And so those are in the works currently. So from there, what happens now? What happens now is we're looking for feedback. If you have questions and answers, you're more than welcome, or questions, I will provide the answers. You are more than welcome to ask the questions in the Q&A box here on Zoom. We also will be responsive to our emails. You're more than welcome to submit comments to parks@josephinecounty.gov. In the subject, just put Tom Pearce Playground so that we know what we're looking at before we open it, get it over to the right person. Any comments we'll go ahead and just file and compile all together. If you have a specific question, we will do our best at responding directly to you to make sure that your questions are answered. At the end of 7 days, on the 22nd of February, we're going to be looking at any remaining comments or questions in regard to the play build. It is our very last opportunity to make any design tweaks or considerations for modifications. And then we're taking that over to Playcraft. We're going to be looking at a overlay in order to see how it's going to sit on the ground, at what angles, where the benches will be around it, look at building that sidewalk around it, and then ordering the playground itself. With COVID delays and manufacturing delays, we are looking at about a 5.5 to 6 month production time. And so we anticipate that our install date will be in August 2022, but we'll really have that information once we are able to submit that to the manufacturer, and we'll have a better idea on how long it'll take. So from here, I'm available. I'll stay as long as anybody has questions. I'm able to go back in slides and look at specific playground elements. We can rewatch the video if anybody has a need for that. And from there, we hope to hear from you so that we can provide the best playground possible to everybody in the public, you and your families. There have been no questions that have come in so far. I do know we had one person join late, and I know that you missed a little bit of the presentation. I'm not sure if you've had time to review designs online. If you want to raise your hand, I'd be happy to allow you to speak and activate your mic. All right, and Lee Spargo has raised his hand, and so I'm gonna say allow to talk, and Lee, you should be able to unmute yourself at this time if you have a question.
A question in its sorts, remembering the incidents at Whitehorse Park with the old McDonald's slides and the maintenance problem in keeping those clean, are these tubes attached to the third, three-story tower, are they easy to clean? Or small enough that a large person can't get in them?
Yeah, a great question. So one of the things we did when talking to Playcraft about the design is we did bring up very early on that we didn't want any closed locations where people could hide, where it would be harder for us to get into. And so as you can see with the crawl through tube that goes from that second to third story, we have a lot of holes and openings so that we can see inside of it. So that portion itself eliminated some of the issues that we had with Whitehorse before. Additionally, Whitehorse is attached to the campground. And so we would have families that didn't necessarily show up for the playground, but a lot of users that would be driving to the boat ramp and other people that would stop by. We anticipate Tom Pearce being more of a destination where people are coming for the playground when you go to the back portion of the park. So we do think it will be used a lot heavier. The good news is we have 2 sets of hosts here at Tom Pearce Park, and we now do have additional staff with Josephine County Parks in addition to somebody who has been through the training for certified playgrounds inspections. And this will make our lives a little easier when it comes to maintenance and keeping up on the requirements for public playgrounds. These are newer playgrounds, and with that, I do believe that they are easier to access for full-grown people. The one from McDonald's was already used and aged out by McDonald's when we acquired it. And so really, when one entity said, hey, it's past our useful life, we were picking it up for the first time. And so I think with that, it was just older design. They used to do things a lot smaller and designed it quite differently for McDonald's versus us. So I do not anticipate we'll be having that issue moving forward.
Good, thank you.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right, and we'll have you put your hand down, and if you come up with another question, you can re-raise it and we'll activate you. Thank you. I'm talking and my mic was on mute. That didn't help anybody. I was going to be telling you that some of our other playgrounds that are slated for playground projects, Indian Mary Park had their playground removed due to deterioration, as well as Griffin's was closed and is going to be removed here in the next month. With both of those, we're reanalyzing the locations to see what kind of play elements should go back in them. We are right now looking at some more natural builds. So instead of building full play structures, maybe only buying 1 or 2 elements, such as the swings that are existing can stay, and then looking at building nature play areas out of real logs from trees and adding some elements. So those will be public as we start diving more into them. We just wanted to get Tom Pearce's fully rolling before we looked at any other playground designs. Does anybody else on the call have any questions? If not, we can close the public meeting, and you are welcome to share this video. In the next half hour, I will get it up on our YouTube channel, and it'll be shareable with the public. And then, of course, we'll have public comments available until the 22nd for anybody that has additional comments or suggestions to consider before we order the playground. All right, awesome. Well, with nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and close today's public meeting. Thank you so much for those of you that showed up, and for those of you tuning in to learn more at home after the fact. We are very excited to be fully funded and at the point where we get to have a date soon to be announced for the official install and bring play back to Tom Pearce Park and everybody that visits. I'm Sarah Garceau, Josephine County Parks Director. Please contact Josephine County Parks if you have any questions or concerns. Again, our website is josephinecountyparks.gov. You can email parks@josephinecounty.gov. You can get directly to our website, josephinecountyparks.com. And our phone number, 541-474-5285. If you do want to submit any comments in person or by mail, our address is 125 Ringette Street, Grants Pass, Oregon, 97527. And I do see we had another member just show up. Marcy, welcome to our meeting. I have been through the full presentation, and at this point, nobody else had any further questions. I am happy if you want to raise your hand to let you speak. I can answer any questions. I can go back through slides and show you the playground design if you're interested. All right, well, with no questions posted to the Q&A form and nobody with their hands up who may have questions who want to speak verbally or requesting me to go back through any other slides, I'm going to go ahead and close the meeting. Again, this full meeting will be available on our website, josephinecountyparks.com. We'll get you over to the links. I'll be posting them up in less than a half hour after I get this up on YouTube so that the full presentation can be reviewed by anybody who missed it. And public comments will be available for 7 days. Thank you so much for your time.